The Future Saints. So it's been said that if you've read Daisy Jones and the Six, then this one is going to be right up your street. I have not read that, so I can't comment on the comparison. However, I can agree that this is very much a story about bringing a rock band back from the brink. So in short, they are a band bombing at a dive bar back in their hometown after the tragic death of their manager and the sister to the lead singer, Hannah. And you know, they've been in this downward spiral ever since. Theo is then brought in to try to fix the band, or management are going to have to, you know, let them go. No other choice. Hannah is a truly broken soul who can't find her way back and doesn't want or feel able to ask for help. You know, she lets fame sit alongside her grief, you know, allowing it to encase her completely. And it does take around 85% of the book to see her finally come out the other side. And yet it did feel a little bit rushed towards the end, but it was still something to witness. As always, the side characters, especially the other members of the band, were all unique and interesting, seeing how each of them dealt with grief in their own way, but still supporting and being there for their bandmates and friends. And this, I think, brought some much lighter and heartwarming moments to what is overall quite a heavy, emotionally weighted read. I did enjoy this in the end, but I have to be honest, it did become a little bit monotonous through the middle section. You know, it just felt like the same story on repeat. Don't get me wrong, I do understand what Ashley was trying to show in terms of grief and the crippling impact it can have on you physically and mentally daily. But the constant sad show after sad show, heavy drinking, poor choices, this complete inability to cope, it did become a smidge frustrating. Not because it was a case of get over yourself, but because for much of the book, that's all it was. I know that sounds harsh considering the topic, but it would have been good to see a bit more, you know, below the surface of all of that. That being said, what did stand out for me was the overall depiction of the grief, you know, the harsh, raw reality of it, paired with obviously the manipulative and often cruel nature within the music industry, which I know sounds somewhat convoluted considering I've just said I struggled with the repetitiveness, but it's the underlying message that was being conveyed across. It was so well done and so relatable. I have to admit, I did enjoy the way interview transcripts, social media posts and reviews were incorporated throughout this. You know, it definitely added an extra voice and a much needed lightness to the narrative. So the album that's written in this as a monument to Hannah's sister is, is reviewed as an album that explores grief and hope in the wake of loss, though it's heavy on the former and light on the latter. There's the blurb if you want to read it. You know, it's about how one day being reunited with the people that you love, one day doing their legacy justice, and one day showing them just how much they were loved. Whilst this is a review of a fictional album within the story, I do think that it perfectly sums up the entirety of what I read in The Future Saints.